With only 3 days left on the banner, I have managed to acquire our lovely boy Ororon here. I didn't want Chaska, I just wanted Ororon. We're at like 60 something pity, so it was somewhat scary. Today, I'm going to be trying to turn him into a bit of a Hypercarry and see what we can do. I already have him on Skyward Harp, so I'm already somewhat messing around with things, but we're just going to kind of see what we can do and see if we can get him hitting some large numbers. I haven't seen many videos, so I don't really know what to expect. So yeah, let's just jump into this. First things first, let's get him to level 90. We need these, so let's go acquire those. I must say, this is not a very efficient route of farming these flowers. We just did all of the collection area in the main city, like this area. Then we go to this cave and collect a couple there. And now they're taking us back to the city area. Really, it was for one singular flower. You could have just slightly expanded the other area to include that. I really wonder how they decide where they're going to put the flower things, because I just came all the way over here for one. There was one flower here. Same thing down here. There was just one. The rest of them are over here. That area I do not have unlocked. What are we looking like? We have 72. That is not enough, not even slightly. Well, I think I'm going to jump to Fontaine only because that's going to be the easiest way of getting any more of them. I'm also most likely going to farm Saurians. So we'll deal with that in a second. Let's just go get up to level 80. Well, there is everything for 80. Not the books though. We're going to need to farm books. Yippee, I love farming books. And more by the looks of things. Oh, great. Let's begin farming, shall we? We need a lot more level up books because we need to get all the way up to 80 and then 90. And then we also need a lot more Mora because we need that for everything. So I'm probably going to need to farm a lot of ley lines. Well, with a little bit of farming, we have enough books to get him up another level, but not enough Mora by a long shot. Farm some Mora ley lines, then I'll go farm his boss and everything else. We'll get him up to the last ascension, and then I just keep farming books and Mora until we can actually get him to level 90 and talents leveled up and all that stuff. So there might be a lot of fragile being used today. Possibly. Actually, not possibly. Definitely. Oh, would you look at that though. We get Mora from the battle pass. And that is actually enough Mora to get him to level 80. Now we need all of this stuff and more Mora. So let me go actually farm his boss and those things now. And then we will deal with the Mora situation once we have everything else. Okay, so after some very painful farming and all of my resin being used, I think we now have enough to hopefully get him to 90. We have that last ascension. Yeah, we don't. We are missing probably 1 or 2 books and more Mora. Why are we here? What's he doing with like no artifacts and anything else? 3k. Not that bad, to be honest. 4k on the skill. I feel like his burst does the most damage. So what is that doing? Yeah, not a whole lot. Okay, good to know. He has no artifacts and his talents are level 2. So damage is not expected at the moment. Or at least big damage. Damn, I got my Dia to hit 12k. That's not that bad, actually. And she's only level 80. Dia C1 though, so that does help, I think. But I mean, she's not got great stats. Wow, that's actually somewhat surprising. I did not expect my Dia to be doing 12k. Not complaining though, I do enjoy using Dia with Kinich. It is a very fun team. Okay, well, there's a boatload of ley line farming. Surely. Okay, we can get him to 89. We are so very close to 90, so we're just gonna need like 1 more book. Yes, the shop sells books. And boom, there we go. Ororon is now level 90. That took way too long and way too many resources, but there we go. Next up is talents. I think we just want to go burst skill because his normal attack doesn't really do a whole lot except for that 1 charge attack, which can be somewhat decent, but we will deal with that later, I think. We also need artifacts, which I'm going to run Obsidian Codex. And just for the time being, because I don't have enough resources to farm things, I'm just going to borrow Kinich's. It'll work basically the same because Kinich has the exact same stat requirements, except for obviously the fact that we want electro damage, not danger damage. But he still wants attack and crit damage, and he runs a crit rate weapon because I do actually have Kinich's signature. So he runs crit rate weapon, we're running crit rate and Ororon, so we can just basically steal all of Kinich's pieces, and that'll work good enough for now. We could also run like Thundering Fury or something like that. But I do think Obsidian is definitely going to be a better bet for us. Although we do not really have any good electro damage goblets. This is like the first proper electro DPS I'm building. We will deal with the electro goblet at the end, maybe. We'll see if I can level something else up. Otherwise, we're just going to steal Kachings for now. That puts Ororon at 55 to 188. 2k attack. Not the worst stats I've ever seen. Let's go condense the last bits of resin I have, farm more of the Mora we need, and then hopefully we can get his talents up to a reasonable level. And then team comps as well, which is going to be a whole nother problem, but I will deal with that once we have Ororon built. And I was thinking of running him with Mona. I'll probably try him out with Mona and just see what happens. But Mona is only level 70, so I'm not expecting big things out of her. I think I'm going to do something along the lines of a Taser team, because that's what Ororon wants to run with. He is a Taser or Electro Charge character, so we want to run something like that. But then I'm also building him as like a Hypercarry, so maybe we just want to run like full damage team or something and just go all the buffs we can get. We'll do some testing and see what turns out the best. If we could run full Taser, that'd be actually pretty nice, because I actually haven't managed to use Fischl that much, and she is max leveled, so maybe we could figure out something with that. Run like a Ororon as the main DPS, Fischl as like a sub DPS slash battery, then have like Farina and Jingcho or something. Although no, Farina will want heals. So maybe you just put in Shalonen then and finish the team off with Shalonen to increase the damage further. You know what? While we're farming this, we might as well try out those teams and see what happens. So we're going to run Ororon as our main DPS. We're going to put in Farina in there. We're going to put in Fischl and Shalonen. See what happens. I haven't looked at any guides for Ororon really, so I don't really know what I'm doing. We're just going to mess around and see what happens. Golden Troop actually works really, really nice for Fischl, so this will work very well, hopefully. Except for the fact that we don't have an Electro Goblet. There we go. That's slightly better stats. Not really, but it's something, I guess. She's running Stringlers. That increase their elemental skill and burst damage. I think that'd be fine. Farina's running Harbinger of Dawn because she's on DPS build. And again, that's fine. And then Shalonen is... she's got 3,500 def, so she's good as well. Let's see what happens. Well, Fischl's doing 4Ks and stuff, so that's good. Ororon did a 10k there on his skill. But honestly, just Fischl and Farina are doing a good job. Yeah, hitting a pretty consistent 10k on Ororon's skill. He does have 95% crit rate, so I'd hope so. Oh yeah, because I forgot. Obsidian Codex increases crit rate when the equipping character consumes a Night Cell point. Crit rate is increased by 40%. So yeah, Ororon's going to have 96% crit rate, so we should be fine in the crit rate department. But I actually change up his artifacts to give him some more crit damage. I mean, roll a bit more crit damage. That's a level 20 piece. Goodness gracious, that's a garbage level 20 piece. I thought it was like a level 5. I didn't even look at the level. I just assumed it was level 5. But level 20 for and those stats? That's a not very pretty piece. So we're definitely going to swap that one out. Hopefully then we should get some more crit damage on him and we can have like a 95 to 200, which is a pretty good build. Goodness, we're actually shredding these bosses faster than we do with Kinich. Whoa, okay. This is a pretty solid team, actually. Let's continue the leveling up process. I think I'm going to try to get him to like 6, 7, 7 maybe, because his charge attack is actually doing something. So I think something like that would be cool. Plus the main part of his kit that I actually really enjoy using is this, and that's kind of all his charge attack. I do want that to be leveled up a bit. And if we're building Hypercarry, makes sense. And by the looks of things, we should actually be able to get all 7 across the board, which would be very nice. We just need some more of the Saurian drops, but we only need 4 of them, so we should be good. We're just shy on Mora. We're actually really, really close. We just barely don't have enough Mora. So can I buy Mora from here? I can. That should literally be enough. Indeed it is. There we go. All 7 across the board. We can't go any higher because we don't even have any more of his boss drops. So I'm pretty happy with that. We also don't have any Mora, so we can't do anything there. I probably should actually go farm some more Mora because I do need to fix this electro damage goblet situation. So let me just go farm a couple more Mora ley lines. Surely this is the last time we have to do this. And then hopefully we can get a better electro damage goblet and we can actually manage to get some damage out of Mr. Batman here. We're hitting now 11k on his charge attack, which is pretty solid. The 55 crit rate we have him on at the moment is like literally perfect. because with the buff, we get an extra 40%. So we end up with a pretty perfect, like 95% crit rate, pretty consistently as well. Because he needs to use 1 Night Soul point, which I'm pretty sure is just using his skill. I will double check that actually really quickly, but I'm pretty sure if we just use his skill, then boom, now he has 95% crit rate, and he will always crit. There's his skill. Is he now? Yeah, boom. Just use the skill, and now he's at 95% crit rate. So let's fix this electro damage goblet situation here. I don't care if it has crit rate or not. We don't need any more crit rate. We already have plenty of that. So that piece looks pretty good to me. Don't care how this rolls, as long as it hits mostly crit damage, which we hit attack percent. That's fine, I'll take it. More crit damage is what we want though, so thank you very much. And EM isn't that bad either. Can we hit 1 more crit damage, please? No more EM. I'm actually honestly fine with that. EM is good. I think we do want EM with Electro Charge. I think it does help. But that'll set us at 95 to 196 when we get his buffs up. So there is Ororon built now. Here's level 90, level 90 Skyward Harp. Pretty solid artifacts. They don't have a whole lot of crit rate, but that is fine. We just want as much crit damage as we can possibly squeeze out of them, so that's all we want. Here's C0. C1 might be nice to increase his skill damage, I think, but I'm not risking that. We are at like 64 pity. We just got an Ororon, and I don't want Chaska. I would like a Mavuika, so we're not going to risk going for C1. So let's go see if he can do some damage. We're going to test this team, which is our sort of taser team, I guess. Then we're going to run a full Hypercarry damage team with like Farina and Bennett and Shalonen. So we're just going to swap out Fischl for Bennett, basically. And then I might try running a similar team, but instead of Farina, we try out Mona and just see what happens there. I don't really know Mona's potential for damage buffing compared to Farina, but we can give it a shot. We literally don't need to do any proper setup, just boom, boom. Shalonen, do that. Chuck out Fischl in there, because why not? And 18k. 13k from his charge attack. And his burst hit 20k and is now hitting hits of about 2k. Which, not that bad. 20k off the burst and hits of... Well, he's only doing 8k now because he doesn't have any buffs up. But I think that's actually pretty solid damage. I mean, we are shredding through Masanori pretty easily. Farina's definitely helping that, but still. I'm actually pretty happy with that damage. It's actually pretty good. I am definitely not complaining. Now, let me try this exact same thing, but with Benny Boy. I also kind of need to make sure we get a Electro Crystallize from Shalonen, because I just remembered she's on the Cinder City one. We need that to crystallize or have a reaction with Electro, so Ororon can do more damage. So if we just kind of do that, does that work? There we go. So, damage from Ororon, 30k on the skill, hitting. I'm not seeing anything. Hold up, wait, he doesn't have Electro Charge, and now all the buffs have ran out. Okay, that was a really, really bad run by me. Let's try that again. Actually, for this, I'm going to swap Farina back to Favonius, just so we can get some more consistent energy recharge stuff, and Farina doesn't need to do damage, because I'm just looking at Auroron's damage, so yeah, we can just give her Favonius again. Ororon, we're doing 20k on the charge attack, 30k I think on the initial hit there, and now we're hitting like 4 to 5k. That was actually some pretty solid damage. I liked what I saw there, so some 30ks, and his skill I think did like a 30k or something when we first tested it. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. We're not quite doing as much overall damage by the looks of things, because Fischl was definitely helping with that. But we are doing more damage just from Ororon himself, so that's something. Now, final team is swapping Farina out for Mona. Ororon skill to get those buffs up. Shalonen, Bennett, Mona. Burst. He blocked it. Of course you did. Okay, well, let's get all the bursts up and try this again. Let's do it properly this time. Boom, that. Shalonen, Bennett. Don't block, you idiot. Burst. 26k. Charge attacks. 23k. or 23k. Skill does a 19k. I think the damage was pretty similar. I think Mona's actually slightly worse. I think we did about 29k with Farina. Still, we're hitting about that 30k, which is not that bad, to be honest. I'm pretty happy with that damage. It's nice. And it is very, very consistent because you have 95% crit rate. So we're critting 95% of the time. So I'd say, even though a very, very painful build, it was to some degree worth it. Ororon is actually really fun. I haven't managed to use this too much because the enemies move around too much and you have a set sort of range you have to stick with this. So it's kind of hard to use consistently. We can't move in that form, so if the enemy is right beneath us, which they are most of the time, not much we can do about it. I'm still pretty happy with it. I enjoy Ororon. He is a very fun character to play. Now, just as one final thing, we need to go to somewhere very high in Natlands, like here. I need to go Ororon and Kinich on the same team. We need infinite flying. I don't have Chaska, obviously, but we don't need Chaska because we can get infinite flying with just Ororon and Kinich, I think. Or at least some really long flying. Ororon actually fills up that bar at the bottom. When we switch to Kinich, he can grab all of our stamina back. I think this could almost be endless right now. We could just fly for as long as we want with these two. At least in Natland we can, because Ororon fills up that little phlogiston bar at the bottom. And then when you're using Kinich, there's enough time to restore all of your stamina back, or most of your stamina back. Then you switch back to Ororon, and your phlogiston is now full. I think the only limit you have is possibly hitting the ground. But then again, Kinich can do that, and now you're even higher. And when you switch to Ororon, he also will boost you up into the air even more. As long as you remember that he automatically deploys his wing glider, so don't hit spacebar again. Which is what I've been doing every single time. Ororon and Kinich mixed together. A very fun aerial playstyle. That's one of my favorite things in any game is aerial combat or aerial playstyle. So I'm pretty happy with this. So yeah, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you like some content, do consider subscribing. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And good. Bye.